Billy, you haven't been on here in a while. What have you watched recently? Anything good?
Uh,
Anything bad?
I watched Don't Breathe 2.
Hmm.
It was pretty good. I mean, of course, sequels are never really as good as the first one.
Unless it's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. But like I really hope they don't make another one.
Well, they will.
Yeah, oh yeah, they
Your
will.
hopes will be dashed,
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
I don't understand like what they can do now. Someone breaks into his house again. Like how many times is this going to happen?
I'm
Is
What
surprised.
moves?
How did they do a sequel? That's surprising to me by itself. I would have thought that
Yeah,
would have
it
been
was.
like a standalone idea, but
Yeah, it was totally more action, a little bit more action than the first one had.
So they've gone that route with it.
Yeah, a little bit more, yeah. And it's not not as intense, as the first movie was. Because the first movie you had like what, 4 characters or 5? A lot of times like no one's saying anything.
And I guess this one's all.
There's more characters.
I mean,
More
yeah,
noise.
yeah. When you said more action, I was like, okay, obviously that's the way they've gone. That they've went.
Yeah, I mean it's not like over the top, but it's like definitely.
I still liked our idea for the original. If they would have had the ending be that he had a vampire trapped in the basement, he was
that's
just
what I
trying
was
to protect
hoping.
those
Yeah.
people from saying.
And like they let her out, and then she just runs amok like everybody in the house.
the first one was.
See, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Are these Blumhouse productions, or is it one of the major studios?
Can't remember who.
Don't Breathe is Ghost House, Sam Raimi's.
Oh, Sam Raimi. Okay.
But I think this one, I don't think Sam Raimi's production company produced it. It was mostly Fede Alvarez's production company, Bad Hombre.
Oh.
Yeah, because they're also producing the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're doing they're doing the Halloween route. Like this is the real sequel.
I feel like everybody's gonna do that now. That's gonna get old quick.
Well, it has already.
But I don't know. But the last thing I heard, he said that the reaction to the test screening was the same as what Don't Breathe 2 got, which was more than what the original Don't Breathe had, the test positive score. So he feels confident about it.
You know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, but they had these directors do it, and then the footage that they turned in, I mean, it wasn't fully done. It was just they only had been working for a little bit, and they didn't like the footage. I guess they had creative difficulties, so the first directors like left, and then they hired somebody else.
Well, it seems to happen fairly frequently these days.
Yeah.
Even big budget productions. They did that with Solo, and they did it with the Star Wars movie. Which was it? Attack of the Clone? No, it was one of the Star Wars films. Didn't they fire?
No, it was the last. No.
Well, they didn't fire the guy.
No, it was supposed to Last Skywalker. Yeah, because
Colin. They didn't invite him
was
back.
supposed to do it. Yeah, the guy that did Jurassic, the new Jurassic Park movies, he was attached to do it. But then he had a movie come out, I think, that bombed.
Oh yes. The book.
And then after that, not too long after that, he like dropped out of Star Wars.
Yeah, Book of Henry, was it? Is that the?
Yeah, Book of Henry. Yes.
But isn't he the same guy that went on to do Knives Out, or am I getting everybody confused?
No, that's Rian
Johnson.
he did Looper, which is a
Okay.
fantastic movie.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, but he did do that second Star Wars movie.
He did the second Star Wars movie.
Yeah, he did Star Wars,
which is the one everybody
Last
hated.
Jedi.
I didn't mind it. I liked Last Jedi more than I liked Rise of Skywalker. Like the only best part of Rise of Skywalker was the Emperor.
Well,
I thought
Rise of Skywalker was J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
yes,
he came
did
back.
That one, yeah.
Because I guess they didn't want. I'll call him Rain Johnson. I don't know why, but Rian Johnson, Rain Johnson. I guess they didn't want him to come back and do the second one or the third one.
Considering the success he's had with Knives Out, I guess.
Yeah.
He was lucky, right?
Yeah.
Someone told me, or not told me, I think I read somewhere, I think he's doing his own Star Wars, like, trilogy. So is Taika Waititi also.
Well,
Doing separate stories.
Yeah, different. their own different like Star Wars story. So it's gonna be I don't know when it's gonna be take place. If it's gonna be like after everything or before or what or.
Well, we certainly need more Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As more
They
and more
gotta
Star
build.
Trek series.
Yeah.
I never watch any of this stuff, so I'm completely ignorant of it, other than the stuff that I hear about it on Red Letter Media. And I was watching them recently because my life is empty and I need something to fill the void. So I'm sitting watching hours of Rich Evans and Mike Suklaska, whatever his name is, reviewing all the episodes of Picard season 1, a show that I scrupulously avoided because I hated the idea of it. And I was surprised to see how many they didn't like it either. And the thing you can't come away with is this feeling of, why are they bothering? Why would Patrick Stewart at this late stage of his life, with all the success that he's had in his life, why would he want to be bothered with this stuff? It's not likely to be like a big gold star on his resume when he's done. And, it's a mystery to me, and I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent here, but.
Oh, that's what we're here for, though.
Okay.
This is that episode to do that.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll try not to exhaust you too much with my ramblings, but I was reading an article earlier today on Big Think. Do you know Big Think website? They have a YouTube channel as well, where they have like thought leaders and scientists. They write articles about various issues, philosophical and scientific issues. Anyway, this person was putting forward the idea that we are probably, practically speaking, we're probably alone in the universe. And he based it on the fact that likelihood of anything like intelligent life forming on other planets is very unlikely. It's very rare. And even if such creatures do exist somewhere in the universe, we're never going to be able to reach them because the distances that we'd have to travel, even with light speed craft, would be enormous. Well, anyway, after reading this, I thought, if that's true, we're all alone in the universe. It's just human beings and just the silly crap that we've been doing on this planet. That's the only instance of that ever happening in the history of existence. And science fiction, like Star Trek, proposes this optimistic future where we're all out in space, flying around and meeting different types of alien creatures and trying to get along with them and all that. Very optimistic picture. And I think it's a good thing, because what happened was generations of people grew up, scientists and engineers and all sorts of smart folks, and they were following the lead that Star Trek, this optimistic image of the future that Star Trek provided. So it was a good thing. It was a healthy influence. You can argue about whether or not every episode of Star Trek was the height in literature or drama, but it had a positive effect on the world because it made people try to accomplish that future, as unlikely as it might be. Now we have this dark, pessimistic, cynical, violent vision of the future that's given to us by this nitwit that's the showrunner for Picard. He's also the nitwit that did the Universal Mummy movie with Tom Cruise. So you know what we're dealing with here.
Right.
Jeez.
Everything about the series from the clips that I saw is dark, including the image. You can barely see the fucking picture. What is this thing with everything being so fucking dark? Everybody has shadows on their faces. The room is practically black with like little lights in the background. I mean, you can't imagine that they spent much money shooting it because it looks like it was shot in an empty room with the lights turned off. Anyway, that's not my point. My point is the bleakness of these shows and the pessimism and the cynicism also leads to the sort of conspiracy thinking that we're seeing right now that has had such a horrible effect on our society. Apparently in this one, the Starfleet is a bad influence on the universe. They're racist or speciesists or whatever, or corrupt in some way. It's just a poisonous picture of the future, and I can't see where anybody will benefit from it. And they're going to leave a mark because 20 years, 30 years from now, the next generation is going to look back and say, we didn't have that. We didn't have an optimistic picture of the future. It was all dark and dreary and gray.
And now we're all depressed.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm here for. Trying Try to bring everybody down. But
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the new Star Treks that are on the streaming. Of course, I've only seen the original series, the Next Generation, and then like all of the films.
Mhm.
I didn't watch Deep Space Nine or whatever the other shows
Oh, my
were.
parents
Voyager.
loved, or especially my dad. My dad watched Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and the one with Patrick Stewart.
Next Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
And they also had Enterprise.
Enterprise was. I didn't watch that either. I
Didn't
watched a
watch
couple
that.
episodes, but I couldn't get past the theme song.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible theme song.
Well,
And they watched the one with Scott Bakula too.
That's it.
that's
Enterprise.
it,
Yeah.
Oh, that's Enterprise.
Yep.
And now we
That was
have
supposed to be the first ship that ever went out or something like
yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a bad idea to begin with, right? The idea of doing
Yeah.
prequels is always a bad idea, I think. Which is why, of course, when they did Discovery, that was a prequel series as well, right? Wasn't that taking place before
I believe so. Yeah.
Commander Pike?
Yep.
So I think the writers just try to make things easy on themselves. They say, well, we'll set it in the past because then we have all this stuff that's already happened in the series, various series that have been done. We have all of that stuff to refer to, you know. We can go back and we can tell the origin story of this character or that character that is seen in a later series.
And make up their own lore and stuff.
Usually try retrofitting things, you know, changing things slightly. But I always find that very depressing to be watching a show that's supposedly taking place in a time maybe hundreds of years before the show that I liked, you know.
Yeah.
Why are we there? You know,
yeah,
why are we here?
Don't you feel like
I want to leave the
prequels?
mystique to the characters and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because don't you think that like when you watch a prequel, you're just like, well, I know the character lives because he's in the, so it kind of takes away from
Yeah.
any, suspense.
Because you kind of know what's going to happen. It's like, oh, he's going to be, oh, that's why he turns bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And those explanations of characters' motivations are never really satisfying. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I look at the Star Wars prequels, that guy doesn't look anything like what I imagine Darth Vader would look like.
So, yeah.
And he doesn't even look like the Darth Vader that was unmasked at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I know.
That guy looked like, you know, a badly made omelet. Where, it's just the attempt to make things more sophisticated, you know, is a bad idea, I think. I think the beauty of these shows is their simplicity and their directness. They should be like fairy tales. They shouldn't be like reading War and Peace, you know. All that backstory is not necessary. That's why it wasn't in the first movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But,
they get a taste of that money and they're like, oh shit.
Well, that's it.
I can make a lot more of this.
Well, I think George Lucas also cursed us when there was one little joke that he did at the beginning of the first Star Wars movie, which was to have that, you know, episode 3. The idea was, this is a movie that's inspired by the afternoon serials. So I will start in media res, as they say. I'll start it.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have, 2 other movies before.
No.
Ridiculous. Or actually, it was episode 4, right?
4. Yeah.
But that was supposed to be a joke. And when you saw it in the theater the first time, people laughed. Now everybody thought that really was the fourth plot of a, who would do a movie like that?
Yeah, I've heard people say that, oh, he planned it all out. And I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't even know what, Empire was going to be yet when he wrote the first one.
He didn't even know there would be an Empire.
No.
The guy who was Gary Kurtz, is that the guy who was co-producer?
I believe so.
He went down to, after they finished shooting Star Wars, they went down to Hawaii because they were afraid, him and Spielberg. They went down on vacation in Hawaii because Lucas was so sure that Star Wars was going to be a bomb. He wanted to be out of town. So he didn't even have any idea that there would be a series. All that stuff is bunk,
Plus, what's his the guy played Obi-Wan, Alec McGinnis, or I think?
Alec Guinness, yeah.
Yeah, he hated that movie. He was like, this is going to be shit.
Yes. Well, I can, it seems like all the Brits that worked on the crew over there were very down on the production. They didn't think they thought it was
look at this nerd. Should beat him up. Space stuff.
Lucas apparently didn't make himself any more popular by touching lights and things that should have been left to, I mean, he was doing like indie filmmaking where the director grabs lights and moves stuff around, and apparently that didn't go over too well. But the big movie that year that 20th Century Fox was counting on was Damnation Alley. That was the one that they thought was going to be a big hit. And Star Wars, Star Wars, who knows what that's going to be. But Damnation Alley, which is, I think, a terrible, terrible movie.
I don't think I've even seen it.
That's the one where the
I haven't
main
either.
selling point is that they have a really nice truck that they drive around. Anytime you know that a movie is being sold on the basis of its vehicle,
Yeah.
it's a bad sign.
Well, now that type of thing gets a lot of money. I mean, Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And they actually had a couple of
Never.
TV series like Airwolf and Blue Thunder and
Oh yeah, Knight Rider.
Knight Rider, yes. So the car and airplane or helicopter fans had their, dreams come true with those. But Damnation Alley is such a stupid movie. Stars Jan Michael Vincent. Do you know, guys? Do you guys know?
Yeah.
Boy, he was a trip. Yeah, he was on the verge of great stardom at one point. And then he turned into like a junkie or a drunk, and he's dead now.
Was he in a car wreck and that's how he messed up his face? Is that what his?
That's just, I don't know if he was doing like meth or something. But
Oh, okay.
or he might just have been a real hardcore drunk. But yeah, he destroyed himself, which is really sad because he was a very, impressive looking guy. He looked like a real movie star in his day. He actually was the star of Airwolf. That series.
Yeah. For some reason I was thinking he was in a car accident and got his face cut up or something.
That
Wasn't
happened
that
to
Mickey Rourke?
Well,
was boxing, wasn't
he just had plastic surgery.
but Mark Hamill
I
was
thought
in a car accident that did fairly severe damage to
Yeah.
his face.
Yep.
And there's
I'm
still
thinking of who was the guy from the Partridge Family?
David Cassidy,
No, not him.
Jack Cassidy.
No, maybe it wasn't the Partridge Family. There was
Something
some
like
other.
that.
There was some other like '70s kid actor, and he was in a car wreck.
Well, that's good
and
to hear.
Messed his face up.
All these 70s kids
Yeah.
in car wreck. Well, of course, Montgomery Clift, who was a big star in his day, he was almost like the Tom Cruise of his day. He was in a car accident and he got his face messed up. And it made a tremendous change in his career because he just didn't look the same anymore. Who else? James Dean, of course, died in a car crash.
Right.
So, and he probably would not be known today if he hadn't died so young, right? His success was ensured, or his future fame was ensured by dying young. I've decided not to take that path.
Yeah, that's probably the smart thing to do.
I'm not going to ensure my stardom by dying young.
Yeah, Leif Garrett.
Obviously.
That's who I was thinking.
Oh,
of.
Leif Garrett.
Yeah. But he wasn't an actor. He was a singer, wasn't he? Like
I
a
was an actor as
No, he was
well.
an actor. I'm pretty
heartthrob.
sure.
Was he? Okay.
He played Felix Unger's son in The Odd Couple.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He also sang the Melvins. Melvins did a cover of "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and he sung it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a pretty good cover. He has a pretty good singing voice. It's crazy.
Well, that I guess that was the equivalent in those days of the boy bands of today, right?
Right. Yeah.
Somebody who looks good on the cover of 16 magazine and has a decent voice. David Cassidy, the guy who did star in the Partridge Family, he had a great voice. And he's another one that destroyed himself a drink.
Yeah, man. Danny
Bonaduce.
Bonaduce. Yeah.
I didn't follow Danny Bonaduce. What happened to him? Did he?
He had that show, didn't he?
Hey, what?
He had that reality show. Like
He may.
pretty
I don't
sure,
know.
like,
I know he
long
was on
time
that.
ago.
He was on like a show on True TV, but I think he was doing celebrity boxing there for the longest time too.
Boxing. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think that's what contributed to Mickey Rourke's crappy looks now is boxing.
Oh yeah, and apparently he was a pretty good boxer too.
Well, I guess he survived. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
his face didn't
I also
survive.
heard
too well.
Daniel Day-Lewis was an incredible boxer.
Oh yeah.
Because like he actually get into his roles and stuff. Like My Left Foot, he literally just like used his left foot through the whole time.
Yeah, he's an impressive actor. It doesn't look like too many. If he was a boxer for a while, or if he tried that, it doesn't look like he got hit in the face too often.
No.
No, not at all.
Mickey Rourke looks like he got hit in the face constantly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even
Plus,
recognize him when he was
plus
in
botched,
Iron Man 2.
Botched plastic surgery. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the combination of the two. It's getting a certain amount of damage to your face and then trying to do facelifts. It's always a bad, combination.
when he was in when I saw him in Iron Man 2, I was like, he looks familiar. And I was like, oh shit, that's a dude from Angel Heart. I was like, what the fuck happened to him?
Yeah, he really did change. It's
Yeah.
maybe he was doing steroids too. That might have contributed to, because he's a much bigger, bulkier guy now.
Yeah, I think he
So
bulked up.
so that was his real face in Sin City. That wasn't makeup.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that was his real face.
Yeah, I think he bulked up for the wrestler.
Oh, that
Oh,
was a
yeah.
great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I haven't seen it
looked
since
like
I watched it, one time.
he was up for the Oscar for that, wasn't he?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was his big comeback chance. And he went from that to doing Spider-Man 3, 4.
Iron Man.
Oh, it was
He
Iron
was in
Man.
the
that's
Iron
right.
Man, yeah,
Yes,
Iron Man 2.
And then Domino. Yeah,
Well,
he was in Domino too.
Is Domino
Like
the name
Keira
of his?
Knightley.
I don't think I saw
Oh,
it.
yeah, where she was the
It was like what were they, like bounty hunters? I think?
yeah.
Yeah. It's based on a true story, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think her character was
Yeah.
So we can't really say that Mickey Rourke was a true tragedy because he's apparently back and he's acting. He's doing a lot of crappy low budget stuff, but he
right.
also
Yeah.
does some pretty big films. Eric, is it Eric? The brother of Julia Roberts, Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts, yeah.
Yeah. He was in a car wreck and fucked his face up.
Oh yeah.
We got a long
Yeah.
list of
Yeah.
celebrity car wrecks.
But what the hell happened to his taste in movies? I mean,
I don't know. I don't know if
he's like
I
doing
just-
like Piranha or Sharkosaurus movie, whatever the fuck
Yeah.
shit they do on the Sci-Fi
It's
channel.
because he got in a car wreck, fucked his face up, and like his career. No, I think that's
That's
really
the-
what happened. Like his
Well, no, I
career just
just-
went down. They're like, he's not marketable anymore.
Well, why
I mean-
can't he do like Phantom of the Opera or something? They could save money on
Yeah.
makeup. I mean, looks fine to me. He looks older, but he looks the same as he
Yeah.
always did. So I don't know why he's doing such shitty movies. I actually
He-
saw a little bit of a movie that he did last night. I was on Tubi TV and they recommended this thing called Greatland. It was a sort of futuristic thing, and it was done on a very low budget. And Eric, I didn't get to the part that he was in because he's probably only in it for 5 minutes. His
Yeah.
name is right at the top of the poster. But I was thinking, why would he be in a movie like this? This looks like something I would shoot, you know.
I think the last thing I saw him in was like, this was like 10, 15 years ago. It was the Killers music video came on. I was like, oh, that's fucking Eric Roberts.
Oh, he did a cameo in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a big part of the Killers that music video. I can't remember which one it was though.
You always wonder about these, whenever you see a well-known actor or actress and they've done big movies and then, oh wait, now they're just doing, Bruce Willis comes to mind. He does a lot of low budget.
It's because he's an asshole.
But I mean,
It's hard to work with.
Well, no, but is he just doing it just for, hey, it's just easy money? I go on set for
That's
a
probably
week
it.
and then, they're paying me all this money and I don't have to do like a press junket for it because it's probably just going straight to video. You know what I'm saying? Is it just easy money for
Because
him?
he's like, they're going to help me and I'm going to help them. They're going to pay me and I'm going to give them some money. They're going to make some money because my name.
Yeah.
I was in fucking Die Hard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if he were to die right now, he leaves behind a pretty impressive body of work, I mean, most people would have been happy just to have a successful TV series that was on for how many years? 5 years.
Yeah.
And so, but he went on to do Die Hard movies, and he went on to do M. Night Shyamalan.
The whole 9 yards, the whole 9 yards, the whole 10 yards.
All of those, yes, all those classics. And yeah, I mean, he's done 12 Monkeys with Terry Gilliam.
Oh yeah, Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, that's right. He was in that too, yeah. So he's got an impressive record, but I guess.
Well, we talked before about Anthony Hopkins doing Transformers, and it's just
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
I mean, he must be just doing it for the money, right? For the paycheck.
Yeah, but he
There's
also
no art,
seems.
there's no art in it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think also like they sign these contracts like, all right, you can do 3 movies that you really want to do, but you're going to do at least one fucking movie we want you to do.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
possible. Yeah, that's
it.
that might explain. It's interesting because I was wondering recently. I was watching Red Letter Media and watching their Best of the Worst shows. And you see all these terrible, terrible movies that were made in the 70s and 80s. Particularly the 80s seems to have been a real heyday for crappy movies, action movies especially. And you think to yourself,
Oh, definitely.
how is it that such sheer stupidity could find financing?
Right. Yeah.
And then I began to think maybe this is have you ever seen The Producers, the Mel Brooks film?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the Springtime for Hitler effect. The producers, the investors say, we want to be able to get a tax write-off. So we want to put our money into a movie that is certain to fail. So they look around, they find the dumbest guy they can find, and they say, you make us a movie, make it as stupid as possible.
And then they
Because-
hire Cameron Mitchell.
And they hire Cameron Mitchell, right, to call, do a phone call in. That he was way ahead of his time. He was doing Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Movies back. But is it possible that that's why we got so many really stupid movies? I mean, some of the things are just inexplicable, and they're not all like, you know, $10,000 things like you see on Amazon Prime. Some of them are movies that have $200,000 or $300,000 behind them, but the dopiness of them is just palpable, and I can't understand how anybody can make movies like that.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. It's got to be that they're not, you know, they're obviously not putting a lot of money into it. And then with the, you know, think back in the 80s when you had straight to video, it probably not, obviously it doesn't cost as much to put it on VHS as it is in the theater, and they can
Well,
just sell them. Yeah, they're probably going to make their money back with people just picking them up at the, you know,
And
Walmart for $5.
And VHS even more than
Hey, what is
DVD.
y'all's favorite straight to video movie? Like straight to video
There's too
movie?
many to, there's too many to mention.
One of my favorites, because it's just so ridiculous, is Cobra. I've never seen a man cut a pizza with a knife.
Is that the one with
Man, I just
Stallone?
love Cobra. Yeah, I think it's the greatest movie. It's so funny. It's
Oh,
so ridiculous. It
Uh,
has that one guy that was Shao Kahn in
Ricardo
In
Montalban.
Mortal Kombat
in Mortal
2.
Kombat? Yeah.
Yeah, he was also Buffalo Bob on was it Joe Dirt? That guy, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
Mhm.
know you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, he was in it.
I'm pretty
He
sure
was the- I
Cobra
think he
came
was
out in
the main
theaters,
villain.
though.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
It just looked like a direct-to-video.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, Stallone is doing direct-to-video movies now. At least a couple of his films have gone direct-to-video. And I don't think
Oh
all
yeah,
these.
Escape Room or
Yeah,
something.
there
or-
was a couple there that they were pretty much saying, well, his career is over because he's doing direct-to-video. But sometimes I think it isn't a decision that's made before the movie is produced.
Right, yeah.
Maybe, well, we made the film, but we can't get a distributor, so put it out on video.
Also, he's probably like, no one's going to make this. I want this done my way, so I'll put out the money or
It's
whatever.
a question of artistic integrity from Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like,
I heard
I want this.
I was gonna say I heard a funny story about Schwarzenegger kept telling Stallone, "Hey, I'm going to do this movie. It's a really good movie. It's a script," because he didn't want to really do it. So he kept pitching this movie to Stallone. So, you know, hey, I'm going to do, and then Stallone went in underneath him and took it from him, and it was Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh boy, well, he
What
really
was
got him
it?
on that one.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
That's the one he did with the woman from Golden Girls.
Yeah.
I forget her name.
Estelle Getty, I think.
Estelle
is-
Getty or something like that. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Stallone did a series of abysmal films right around that time. He was working with Touchstone, a Disney company.
Yeah, Over the Top, where he was
Over the Top was
where-
was that the truck
hand
drive?
with the, no, it was the
arm
arm,
wrestling.
yeah, arm
I-
wrestling. Yeah, he drove a truck too, but the main thing was the arm wrestling.
And he did Ryan. Was it Rhinestone? Was that the one he did with Dolly Parton?
I believe so. Yeah.
And then he did Oscar, which was a comedy, supposedly.
Yeah.
And then he did, I think that Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, which is a wonderful title. Goes,
Yeah.
comes trippingly off the tongue. I think he did that last, and then the Touchstone people said, "Oh, we don't really give him any more money."
Yeah.
No, that's enough.
I used to work at a theater where we always get the Touchstone product, and we got one, it seemed like one Sylvester Stallone movie after the other, and they were all playing to the sound of crickets. There was nobody in the theater. So thank goodness those days are over, and he's found
Yeah.
the Expendables.
He was in the
Yeah,
new.
he
He was
was
in the
in-
new Suicide Squad.
Oh, he was? Oh,
Yeah.
Or his voice.
Yeah, he played he voiced the shark character.
oh,
Yeah.
well, that's appropriate, I guess.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And got paid a shitload of money, just like Vin Diesel did. Just saying what I am Groot, and that's all right. You're done.
Yep.
Here's your $5 million.
So,
I was gonna say, Billy, you haven't been on in a while. They're remaking The Exorcist. What do you think about that? Are they remaking it or making
Yeah,
sequels?
I heard
Sequels of some
it's
kind.
Sequels.
sequels. Yeah, I heard like they spent what $400 million or something like that, and Ellen Bernstein or whatever, she's going to be in them, or at least one of them, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's at this point, it's like, how can we just beat a movie up, a franchise? Let's make a TV show. Let's make let's make a movie, and then let's make a prequel of that TV show into a movie, and it's never
Yeah.
ending.
I'm afraid they're going to try to go down the route that they did with the version you've never seen, with the spider walk and all the added stuff to it, and it's not going to be any good.
It'll be the new dance craze, the spider walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's depressing. I suppose this is just an example of how money rules everything. There's no brains behind it. It's just we own this franchise, and
We're gonna beat it to the ground
we're gonna
because
run
we
into it.
know most of the time it'll make money.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see where even the less successful episodes of the Exorcist series up to this point have in a way added to the value of the franchise because they can put out box sets, and it's a thing, right? It's not just one movie, it's a whole series of films. So I guess that increases the value in a way. And if the Springtime for Hitler effect applies here as well, they may be intentionally making movies that they know are not going to make their money back, at least initially, because it's an easy tax write-off when the time comes around. And they can always say, well, we didn't know it was going to be a bomb. It was based on a very successful
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think a really good company that's been producing a lot of grade A films is A24.
A24, yeah, they've established
Yeah,
themselves.
they've been just kicking it out. Yeah. I mean, you should check out, if you ever get a chance, you should check out the trailer for the movie Lamb that's
I
coming out.
watched
That
it.
looks insane.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. And I'm really excited for the
Yeah,
Green Knight.
Yeah, the Green Knight looks good. What else? Another movie. The Night House. I'm excited for that.
Who's doing that?
David Bruckner.
Hmm.
He's the guy that's doing the new Hellraiser.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing the new Hellraiser, and then the guy that's doing Halloween is doing the TV show of Hellraiser.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
so,
they're
a great bounty of wonders that are started.
and then Pinhead, they switched roles. Pinhead is going to be female in this one, and they already cast who it's going to be. I can't remember her name.
This is
But
our
yeah,
first female Cenobite. Is that the term for them? Cenobites? Right, have I got that wrong?
No, there was I mean, as the main one,
Cenobites.
yeah, as the main one, yes. Yes, the Cinnabons.
Yeah.
Cinnamon buns. Okay.
Yeah.
Cinnabons.
Well, I'm surprised that people are still doing Hellraiser because I didn't think that the sequels had been that successful. But
What's his name got the full rights back?
Clive Barker.
What's his name? Yeah, Clive Barker. Yeah. Just like pretty sure Sean Cunningham's got the rights back to Friday the 13th.
Oh, well, that was certainly a contentious thing for a while there. A lot of legal battling going on.
I think the Hellraiser sequels, the ones there towards the end, were so bad is because they were just trying to quickly put stuff out to hold on to the rights. So that's why those were so
well,
so horrible.
I have a slight connection in a way to the second one. The fellow who directed it was a fellow by the name of Tony Randall, and not the Tony Randall that did
Yeah,
the
not
Odd
the
Couple. That's the second Odd Couple reference in this show. That's weird, right?
Yeah.
But Tony Randall is the guy who came to fame because he directed product placement for the 1985 version of Godzilla. Now, this is kind of an interesting story, but you'll probably tell me otherwise. When in 1985 or 84, they wanted to release I guess it was an anniversary version of Godzilla. There was a Japanese Godzilla film that was standing ready. So New Line, I guess it was. Who are the folks that did Hellraiser? Is that New Line or
New Line? Yeah.
They commissioned an Americanized version of this Japanese Godzilla film the same way that the original Godzilla film had been Americanized, the one with Raymond Burr back in 1956, when they imported the Japanese version, they shot a lot of footage with Raymond Burr and they inserted it into the movie. And that was a big success. Surprisingly, that was a big success even in Japan, the Americanized version. Anyway, so they wanted to do the same thing. And apparently Tony Randall was the guy who shot a lot of that footage, but because the shoot was being financed in some way by Dr. Pepper, he was in charge of making sure that every time you see Raymond Burr, there's a Dr. Pepper machine behind him.
All right.
So that was and for some reason, he ended up directing Hellraiser 2. Now, the reason I say this has something even remotely to do with me is the first screenplay that I sold was a film called Children of the Night, which was produced by Fangoria Magazine and Columbia TriStar Home Video. They were making movies for the home video market. So they bought my script, and then they said, guess what? Tony Randall is going to direct it. He's the guy that did Hellraiser 2. So I rushed home and I rushed home with a copy, a VHS rental copy back then of Hellraiser 2, and put it on. And I thought it was terrible. I thought it was like a trailer for a movie. It was all just like special effects that looked like some of it had been taken from the first movie. I don't know, but so he's the guy that directed Children of the Night, and unfortunately, it was pretty terrible too.
Was it? I want to track it down now and watch it.
Yeah, it's available. I think somebody put it up on YouTube, and it's probably available from some of the streaming services. But Karen Black starred in it. That was back at the, do you know Karen Black?
Oh yeah, from a trilogy of terror.
Trilogy of Terror,
Yeah.
yes. But she at one time was one of the big Hollywood actresses. She did a whole bunch of movies that I think she was up for an Oscar too.
She was in a lot of the like airplane disaster
She did Airplanes,
films. Yeah.
Airplane 75, yes.
Yeah.
And, she did a couple of Robert Altman movies and Day of the Locust and a whole bunch of movies that were pretty prestigious films. Anyway, she was in it because she was at that period in a career where she was taking a lot of horror stuff because of the Trilogy of Terror success. That show was very popular on TV, and it sort of followed her around. And I was working in a movie theater at that time. I was sort of like an assistant manager in a movie theater on 23rd Street in Manhattan. And one day, after that film had been shot, who comes walking in but Karen Black? And she goes and she watches the movie. And at one point, I was giving the concession worker a break, and Karen Black comes out, and there I am selling a hot dog and a soda to the woman who starred in the movie that I wrote. And I thought, I'm not going to mention to her who I am because, first of all, it looks like I'm a terrible failure in life from being a screenwriter to being a guy selling hot dogs. But also I thought, she might react negatively when she heard the name Children of the Night, having gone through that. She might say, "You're the son of a bitch." But as it turns out, they didn't use my script anyway. They used the broad idea, and they do what I guess they always do. They bring in a crowd of people to rewrite it.
All right.
So that's how I know the name Tony Randall.
Very interesting.
Was it? I'm not so
Yeah,
sure.
it was.
I'm not convinced that was interesting. It was interesting to me, but that's, but anyway, yes, Children of the Night.
You just said that wasn't my script that you shot, all right? Mine was way fucking better. They wrote, I don't know what that garbage was.
Well, I didn't want to, she was always rather an odd person. She was a great actress, but she was always rather eccentric figure. And I was afraid, I didn't know what her reaction would be if I told her anything like that. So I thought it would be best to leave it alone. But while I was preparing her hot dog, she was like doing a little jig in front of the candy stand. So I thought, I'm going to leave her alone.
There you go.
So we had a hot dog. I didn't tell her what was in the hot dogs either. So, there were a lot of secrets I was keeping from Karen Black. I wouldn't be eating those hot dogs if I were you, Karen. Well, she's long gone now. So
Yeah.
She
It's because of the hot dogs.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yes. I killed Karen Black. Oh my God.
I killed Karen Black.
I'll never live it
With the
down.
hot dogs.
With a hot dog, yes. Anyway, so let's talk about something a little more interesting.
All right. Did you?
The Last of Us TV show is 10 episodes? They're gonna have 10 episodes, I believe. And they have a few people from the game One of them's actually reprising the role they did in the video game, and one's playing a different character.
Yeah, see, I never played the game, so I'm gonna be. I mean, I know it's about some kind of
Yeah.
fungus that turns people into zombie-ish type things, but
Yeah, it's like it's actual a real fungus that actually happens to insects.
Oh,
right,
The
yeah,
fungus gets and it controls the insects.
yes,
Um,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I'm interested. It has Pedro Pascal. He's playing the main guy. He's a good actor, and the girl from Game of Thrones that played like one of the young girls. She gets killed by a giant. I can't remember her name, but she's playing the young girl.
you don't think it's gonna be? You don't think it's gonna feel like The Walking Dead?
I hope not. I mean, the guy who did the game is help writing, and he's very heavily involved. I just don't want them to like just do a shot for shot of the first game, you know?
It'd be kind of boring if especially if you've already played through the game.
Yeah, I really hope they don't. Yeah, but I mean, I have hopes. I hope they're smarter than that.
So there's going to be a series?
Yeah, it's going for HBO.
Oh,
The guy who did Chernobyl is doing it.
oh,
That was a very good show.
Yeah, that's.
I have
was
not
like-
seen it.
It was like interesting and depressing at the same time.
Yeah, he's apparently he's doing he's creating and also help writing. He's also heavily involved. You know, when people to create, they're like creator, and they're like, I don't really do anything. I just said I gave him the money and that was it.
yeah.
But he's actually involved. He's actually co-writing.
Well, that's
So
something.
I'm
to look forward
interested. And yeah, if you ever get a chance to play the games, very story-driven games, like really good.
Yeah, I'm sure I won't. I don't have the system or the time to really put into it.
Oh no,
Like
yeah, they're pretty
long
long
video game like
games.
that.
Yeah.
Well, this might be a thing to come in the future that more movies will be made based on video games.
Yeah, but usually they suck.
Yeah, usually they're not all
bad.
that good. Yeah, usually they're not good.
Yeah, they seem to have more luck making movies out of amusement park rides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, what's going to be interesting is when they make a game based off the show that was based off the original game.
Yeah.
Because the show will be different enough that they can make another game. That's kind of connected to it. Billy, did you ever watch The Lighthouse? With William,
think I
with
did.
what's his name? Did you watch it, William?
No,
The
no.
Lighthouse?
That was William Dafoe.
Yeah, William Dafoe.
Wait, yeah, I think I watched half of it.
So I watched it. Oh, of course, we talked about it, I think, on one of the other shows.
Yeah.
But then when I was looking up information for it, I found The Lighthouse from 2016, which is like the same movie, and I didn't know if it was a remake or not.
Is it?
Yeah, because this one here from 2016 says, based on real events which saw two lighthouse keepers stranded for months at sea in a freak storm, the film tells the tale of death, madness, and isolation. And this one came out in 2016.
So you're saying the Willem Dafoe version is a remake of that?
It's either a remake or they just didn't know about it and accidentally.
Similar premise.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see The Lighthouse, but it sounded like a pretty wacky movie.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
Oh yeah, Robert Eggers, he's a great director. I mean, The Witch was excellent.
Yeah.
I actually got to see The Witch in theaters, which it was just out of the blue. We're like, oh, what the hell, The Witch? I was like, the poster looks crazy, so went and
Yeah.
saw it, and it was really good.
Was that an A24 release as well, or?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Witch.
Yeah, I think so. That was one of like their first big ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Might have
Yeah.
been, yeah. Yeah, they seem to know which projects to pick.
I mean, other than The Lighthouse, all the other ones have been super original.
Yeah, see, they've done what? Hereditary,
The Witch, Midsummer.
Midsummer.
Of course, Midsummer to me could have felt like a ripoff of The Wicker Man or The Wicker Tree, or
Yeah.
those other movies.
Well, hopefully not The Wicker Tree.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the other one? Anthony Perkins' son directed it. Oh, the Black Coat's Daughter.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that was
He
really good.
directed
I like that one.
That was well received by the guys on Red Letter Media, I think. They spoke highly of that.
Yeah. So I think
What
you
else has
didn't
he
like The
done?
Wicker Tree.
Yeah, I don't like the Wicker Man that much, man. Really, to be honest with you.
What do you dislike about it?
See, I saw it when I was like 16, and
Mhm.
I didn't like. I thought it was.
You're talking about the
just-
original. You're talking about the original. Movie,
Yeah, the
right?
one
Okay.
with Christopher Lee. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird. I just wasn't my kind of thing. I mean, maybe I should give it another chance since I'm like 33 now.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I
My
liked
change,
it.
my
I played
tastes
it.
do change, you know.
Well, it wasn't really a movie that was, it wasn't like a crowd pleaser. It just
Yeah.
barely got released originally. Funny thing about that movie was that Britt Eklund was in it. And, Britt Eklund, she was one of the Bond girls too, eventually.
Right.
She was going with Rod Stewart. I don't know if that name means anything to you.
One of my favorite singers.
Is he really?
I know who he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I can't think of his song. I know who he is. He has
I
that.
can't think of it. But he was very successful, despite the fact that nobody could ever remember any of his songs.
Yeah.
And when Britt Eklund was in that movie, they had some nude scenes, and he was so outraged that they were going to show his girlfriend or wife or concubine on the screen in all her glory, that he sued or tried to prevent them from releasing it. I think he might have even tried to buy the movie off them at one point. That's sort of a crazy shit that used to go on back then,
That seems kind of weird to say I'm going to buy this entire movie so you can't see my girlfriend naked.
Especially since apparently in the movie they used other than some topless nudity, they used a body double for
Oh,
her.
yeah.
So I don't know what he was getting so upset about, but
I thought the part when like he gets shown the wicker and he's like, "Oh no! Oh Jesus Christ! No!" Like that part made me laugh. He's like, "Oh no! Oh Jesus Christ!" Or he's always cracked me up.
it's not a very upbeat message. That's
No.
But anyway, well, it has a good cast, and it seems to have struck. There are a lot of Brits consider that one of the almost like a national treasure of that movie. It's
Yeah.
a very strong following.
Now, in the remake, of course, you got Nicolas Cage
Yeah, what were they
The
thinking?
punching a woman in a bear suit.
I've never seen it. I've only
Yeah.
seen like those couple parts where he's like, he like kicks a woman into like a shelf,
Yeah.
and
These
then
are all
like
mean,
not the
ready
beast.
moments, right? They
Yeah.
immediately became animated GIFs as soon as
Yeah.
they should. Yeah, that's a movie. I haven't seen it, but I've seen those clips, and I can't imagine what they were thinking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man.
But,
It's
yeah, I
like
enjoyed
when,
I enjoyed
they
the
try to get
original.
him to be Superman. Like, what the hell
Yes.
were they thinking?
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is Superman.
Well, that was Tim Burton's vision,
Yep,
right?
Tim Burton,
Right.
yeah.
And he was going to be with long hair too, right? So he's
Yeah.
going to be a skinny, long-haired Nicolas Cage Superman.
Yeah. I think it could have worked.
I think. Well, I guess they were going on the notion that Tim Burton's Michael Keaton?
Batman. Yeah, Batman was.
Certainly wasn't, this typical
Yeah,
person.
I was reading something. They said the reason why Tim Burton, because he was going to make the third Batman called Batman Continues, but they hated how dark the second movie got, and they were like, you can't do this, because I guess he's wanting the third one to be even darker, and they're like, no, we want kids to see this.
Yeah.
So Michael Keaton he's like, I'm down then, and so Tim Burton. Then they who got Joel Schumacher.
Yes.
Like,
Did he do this? Yeah.
I watched that Val Kilmer documentary,
Oh, how
and
was
he's
that?
saying like, that was really good. It made me ugly cry. Like, yeah. You know how it said like he was so hard to work with. No, he was not.
Val Kilmer, you mean?
Like he said he didn't really act like in Batman. He's like, Jim Carrey and fucking, what was it, Tommy Lee Jones? They were the actual big stars.
Mhm.
He said he just basically just had to stand there, and because you didn't really see him outside of the costume really.
Right.
So he had a bad experience. That's why he didn't do the other one.
Well, George Clooney doesn't speak well of his experience either, and I guess probably for the same reason. It's not really a job for a true actor, It's just standing around.
What was it? The Bat card, the Batman credit card. Never go home without it. Like, and then put nipples on the suit.
Yes. Yeah. Well, Joel Schumacher, who I guess was openly gay in Hollywood at the time, always struck me as being an odd choice. That he would push that aspect of it, the homoerotic aspect of it. But big
He's
cod
in the
pieces.
BDSM.
Yeah, I guess maybe he was just having a bit of a laugh, but
Right.
considering he laughed himself right out of a job, right? Because they got somebody else to do the next one. And I guess that one, the second one that he did, was now the biggest bomb in the franchise's history.
I guess you can't push that too far when you've got like Batman and Robin. You don't want to. You kind of want to
Oh
just leave
man.
that as like
Wow.
a innuendo, not come
Well,
out and just say it. But
apparently, according to the headlines, the Robin character in the comic book has just come out as gay.
oh,
So,
I
Oh
get the
yeah.
newer ones, yeah,
of course, it's not the
Yeah.
original. It's
No,
not
I
Dick
think it's
Grayson.
Tim Drake. Tim Drake.
Tim
yeah.
Drake, okay. So that's, I guess, the inevitable finally happened. But if I was heading
Hey.
up
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was going to say, if I was heading up a big $100 million franchise and there were all these toy companies buying the stuff, I'd say, go easy on the gay,
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be proud, proud and all that sort of thing, but you're risking your career if you turn it into like a,
Yeah, because people are gonna, oh my God, they're trying to turn them gay, and it's like, no, they're not. What are you talking about?
Well, that was one of the things that was Seduction of the Innocent. I don't know if you remember that whole thing. That's way before our time, but I guess it's back in the 50s. The psychiatrist or troublemaker who wrote the book that suggested that all these characters were sending us, trying to influence young people in a negative way. And one of the things he said was that Batman and Robin were obviously a homosexual couple. He didn't use the word gay because that wasn't in vogue at the time. But so that has been a thing that's followed Batman and Robin for a long time. Probably not hard to understand, right? It does.
Well, I'm pretty sure the old comics there's a couple times where they showed them in bed together.
Well,
Oh, I don't know about that. But...
That's what my buddy told me. He's a big Batman fan. He said, yeah, like back in the 40s or something like that, they were sleeping in the same bed or something. Like they didn't say that they were. Yeah, they were just. Yeah, it's his son, or his adopted son, I guess.
His ward.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you look back at old comics from that period, there's a lot of homoerotic stuff, and I always wonder whether people that were drawing and writing this stuff were they having a bit of a laugh, because it wasn't as if homosexuality was just invented. Everybody knew about gay people back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to push the boundaries. Like, can we get away with this?
Oh, that might be it.
It's sort
of like in Roger.
Controversy.
Well, I don't know if they even expected anybody to notice it. I think they were putting this stuff in just to amuse themselves,
Yeah, like all the nude stuff they put in Disney films.
Back then they weren't really as popular.
Well, Batman and Robin were pretty popular.
Yeah.
They were popular enough to have a Columbia did a afternoon serial in the 40s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Batman's been popular for a while. And of course, in the 60s, you had the TV series.
TV show, yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I always liked that show too. I think Adam West and what's the guy's name?
Burt Ward.
I think they were just brilliant in those parts. I don't know
Burt
how
Ward.
they were so lucky to get guys that understood exactly how to do those parts. There's audition videos or audition film up online that shows you other people doing when they're auditioning, when they're trying to cast that show. And you see the other people, they just don't get it,
Right.
And when Adam West and Burt Ward did it, it was just a perfect. Yes, that's exactly the way it should be. It's just like John Astin and what's her name, the woman that played Morticia on The Addams Family.
Mm-hmm.
They were just perfect for that role. Everybody else is just sort of,
just there,
not quite right.
I always had a big crush on Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar's Catwoman. Yeah.
Yes.
She was great. she was another rather eccentric figure. She was in the Karen Black category.
Right. Yeah.
Very, very interesting person.
I guess SNL tackled that subject when they had their skit, The Ambiguously Gay Duo.
Oh yeah, Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell actually.
Yeah, they both done the voices. Yeah, I always thought
that was one of my favorite skits. That shit was funny.
Yeah.
Like, what y'all looking at? Nothing. Robert Smigel he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Is he the guy that does Triumph the Wonder Dog?
Yeah. He wrote a lot of those like little animated shorts on SNL.
Well, I was always a fan of the dog puppet. That always
Me
cracked me
too.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, back for Batman for a second. I forgot Tim Burton's Batman the third one was going to have Robin Williams as the Riddler,
I could see that.
Yeah, I suppose.
and then when they didn't want it to be that dark, they're like, "Well, I'm out."
Well, I have to admit, I saw the Batman with Jim Carrey as the Riddler in the theaters.
I did too.
And it was just,
did too.
it seems to me like it was just a short time after Dumb and Dumber had come out. I'm probably wrong about that, but in my mind, the two things happened close together. And it was
No,
after,
I'm pretty sure you're right.
and after seeing the Batman movie with the Riddler and suffering through 2 hours of Jim Carrey dancing around like a fool, I said to myself, I'm never going to go to another Jim Carrey movie in my life. And I've kept to that promise. And I think probably a lot of other people were secretly making that promise as well to themselves.
Cable Guy's a pretty good movie. You ever seen that?
I've never seen it, no.
Yeah, that's really good. Of course, I
Ben
mean,
Stiller actually directed it.
but his other serious
Ben
roles
Stiller.
are good too.
Oh, Ben Stiller was in that? Or?
Yeah, or he directed it. He
Oh, he
wrote
directed
directed
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. But his other serious roles that he's done, like Man on the Moon, was really good. He was really
Yes.
good in that.
Yeah, I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams, from my perspective, was always better when he was playing dramatic parts.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
But
Good Morning Vietnam. He's great in that.
I always get the feeling that guys like that become really successful comedians because they're doing so much stuff that people sympathize for them and they say, yeah, he's funny.
Yeah.
He sounds like he should be funny. Like Robin Williams always sounded like he should be funny. He was talking a mile a minute, doing voices, blah, 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 blah. And it's like Jonathan Winters. You always thought, yeah, this theoretically, this should be funny, but then it made me laugh. Something
Only
wrong.
one of his specials made me laugh. It was like one of his later ones. And I thought that was hilarious. But I didn't really like his early stuff when he was, in the 80s. Didn't really care much for it.
Cocaine fueled.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He saw John Belushi the day before, or no, the night that John Belushi died. He had saw them and he knew he was already like fucked up.
Yeah.
And he left. And the next day they were like, yeah, John Belushi OD'd. He's like, I just fucking saw him. And he said that's what sobered him up from fucking cocaine. He said he never touched it since. He said alcohol, different thing. He said, but cocaine, he never touched after that.
In my opinion, his worst thing I ever seen him do was the Pop Pop movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Something about that movie is I couldn't get into it.
So
I think it was creepy. It was creepy.
Yeah.
Seeing it as a young kid, it was creepy.
It's Robert
Seeing
Altman.
cartoons as like live action, but then
they look like the cartoon character, like really, like at the big arms,
bloated arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an example, I think, of when really talented directors decide they're going to try to make a play for box office success by doing a genre thing, and they don't have the feel for it. I mean, Robert Altman really didn't understand what a movie like that should be. It was
a musical.
Yeah,
the musical part of it I didn't get. I just didn't.
Some people apparently are fans of the music. Maybe it's one of those things that if we went back to it, like, and got a Blu-ray and saw it in the we're saying, oh yeah, this is great. But
watch the director's commentary and be like, oh, okay, now it all makes sense to me.
Or maybe they needed to restore stuff that they cut out, because frequently that's the problem with those type of films that bomb. Like Heartbeeps, speaking of Andy Kaufman, I was working in a theater that premiered Heartbeeps. Heartbeeps was a movie where Andy Kaufman and Bernadette Peters are robots. They've been created. It's sort of like in a strange way, it was sort of like Edward Scissorhands. But the movie was apparently the previews went badly, so they slashed it down. It was just barely feature length, and they put it into shitty movie theaters like the one I was working in. And it's another movie that played to an empty house. That movie did so poorly on opening night. We closed early because nobody bought a ticket.
Now, is that one? I've never seen it. Is that one of these? It would work better as a comedy, but they didn't.
Well, supposedly
far enough, or was it supposed to be a comedy and it wasn't funny enough?
It was just, it's hard to know what to make. I mean, the idea might have been interesting, but it wasn't funny enough. It wasn't really cute enough to be like a family movie. But again, who knows? Maybe if we watched it now, we would say, brilliant,
Yeah, just like we did with Bloodbeat and Let's Scare Jessica to Death and all these classics.
Well, I see.
Robin Williams, his underrated roles was a 1 hour photo.
A 1 hour photo,
And,
yes. Well, that's
Death to Smoochie. I think that's a hilarious movie.
that one I haven't seen. That's
Oh, it's really funny.
It's a comedy.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Well,
It's him and Edward Norton and Marissa Tomei, maybe she's in it. Can't remember if anybody else is in it, but yeah, it's really funny.
well, I remember seeing him in his first dramatic role was The World According to Garp, which was a movie that I was eager to see because I read the book and I thought it was a terrific book, and he was very good in it, you know. And Dead Poets Society as well. I'm not.
Oh
as big a
yeah,
fan.
fantastic movie.
Yeah. And I guess he also did Good Will Hunting, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Good
and
Will
Jacob
Hunting.
the Liar. Jacob the Liar. That was a good one.
What was the? That was the. What was the one where he played the? Was it like
Bicentennial
a?
Man.
No, he was like a. Was he like a crazy homeless man?
Hmm.
Jeff Bridges, I think, was in it. I'm about to
Oh, The
look it up
Fisher
now.
King.
Yeah, The Fisher King. Yeah,
Fisher
Yeah.
King.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
another
really- yeah.
quality film. So he did do a lot of good movies, I guess.
And Jumanji.
And Jumanji, yes.
yeah.
How could
And
we
what was
forget?
it? RV.
And we've had Jumanji rebooted since. So did he do the reboot?
No, he wasn't in. No, the Rock was in the.
No, he had already
Oh, Rock
passed.
was in it.
yeah.
So the Rock is carving himself out, if you pardon the expression, carving himself out this place in Hollywood where he does movies based on
Rides.
Rides, yeah, that's his thing now. Well, actually,
Yeah.
Jumanji wasn't a ride though, or did it become a
No,
ride?
no.
It was a
may-
board
may-
game.
It may be a ride now. Yeah.
It's a,
Well, it may
okay.
have been, but not anymore. I don't think.
Well, not after the bomb of that movie. That movie didn't do too well. It doesn't look like.
I think it did.
not
I
sure.
think it done well enough that they made a sequel. I think.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And but Jungle
People
Cruise-
love The Rock. People will eat The Rock up.
Yeah, I was
Anything
gonna
he's
say.
in.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess you got to figure. I guess you got to define what success is now when it comes to like how good a movie does.
Plus,
you know?
he gets paid like $80 million like a picture. So
Yeah.
so majority of like the money, the budget goes to
Goes to
him,
him, yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Well,
He's
it's
the
a very
highest paid
depressing
actor.
choice.
He's the highest
Yeah.
paid actor.
Well, that tells us everything we need to know about.
Yeah, I know,
Hollywood,
right? That's fucking crazy.
I mean, I have nothing against him. He seems like a very nice guy.
Oh
And,
yeah. He
certainly-
doesn't make good movies. It's
Yeah, there's nothing I'm interested in. Not that you.
I
would
mean, his
expect
first
him
two movies he ever did was good. I mean, what was it? The Rundown. That wasn't a bad film.
Didn't see it.
I don't think I
Action
saw
movies.
Walking Tall. He did a Walking Tall remake.
Oh, is that
Which
right?
Yeah, it
yeah.
was. Yeah,
I never saw that
It was
one.
all right.
Had Johnny Knoxville from Jackass. If that tells
Yeah.
you anything.
I'd rather watch the original.
And I guess the Mummy sequel, he was the Scorpion King or whatever. Was that his
Yeah.
big breakthrough?
Oh, that was a spin-off, I think. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. That probably sucked. That looked bad.
Well, I know they point to the CGI experts point to that movie as being sort of the low watermark for CGI when
Yeah.
he turns
Oh,
into
definitely.
a scorpion creature. It looks pretty bad. Looks like it
Yeah.
was done with claymation, actually.
Yeah.
We need to talk about like with Brendan Fraser. Glad that he's back in the spotlight.
Yes, it's he had some rocky times there.
He's going to be in the new Martin Scorsese film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the new Darren Aronofsky film where he's going to play a guy that like constantly eats. It's called The Whale.
It looks
It's
like
just
he's already working on that. I think.
Yeah.
You just gotta make sure you gotta watch these movies, Billy, and give him your money. That way.
Oh,
can-
definitely,
you can
definitely. I
help
love,
his
I love Brendan
success.
Fraser. I heard they were gonna. I don't know how true this is. I hope they don't. I mean, I like the first one. It's because it's just a dumb movie. Encino Man. Someone said they were gonna make a sequel, and I'm like, please
I don't
don't.
think they need to.
And
No.
Encino Man is the
Yeah.
one where he's a
Caveman.
Caveman.
Yeah.
With Pauly Shore and
Yeah, bro.
we don't need Pauly Shore to come back.
Well, it wasn't he in prime physical condition at that when he did Encino Man?
Oh yeah, that
Oh,
was like
yeah.
right before George of the Jungle, probably.
So it's going to be kind of hard for him to get back into the loincloth now.
Yeah, it could be. He
Yeah.
could play retired in Encino Man.
Yeah, retired Encino Man.
I wonder what happened to him. What was because you hear all these
Um,
strange stories about like he was traumatized because
He was molested or sexually assaulted by
a studio executive.
producer
Yeah.
or something. Maybe not. Maybe more than once. Maybe I'm not sure.
Oh. I mean,
It really took a toll on him.
the story that they tell, or he tells, seems kind of weird, like something's missing, because it was actually at a function, some sort of event, and apparently he groped him from behind when he was passing his table, something like that. But I don't get the impression that it was one of these things like somebody who's grooming a teenage boy for years, and
No, I don't think it was anything like that. I think it happened later on.
so this guy was so traumatized just because somebody put his hand on him that it led to this tailspin. I mean, not it's possible that that's exactly what happened. Maybe that would happen.
Well, the guy, I think he
nobody's ever
spoke out. The guy
groped me,
ruined his
so I don't
career.
know.
I think tried to ruin his career, made
Oh,
him
I see.
like, yeah, kind of. I don't know I can't remember who that guy was. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
I
they
don't remember
named
either.
him.
But it's surprising that that could happen, and I can't help but wonder if there weren't other factors, because the idea for a while there, it seems like he was almost in every other studio movie.
Yeah.
Oh
Get away
yeah,
from.
it's like his last big movie. What? It was The Mummy, wasn't it? And after
Well,
that, you didn't see him.
that's what I was gonna say. I think The Mummy was just so big. I mean, it's like, where do you go from there? And then he does Blast from the Past and Airheads, and it just goes
Yeah.
down. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Airheads was in the '90s before he did The Mummy.
Was it before The Mummy? Okay.
Yeah, it was like in the '90s. This is like when Adam Sandler was like in shape. This
Oh,
was
okay.
like,
But
yeah,
still, I would say The Mummy being
But
such
didn't
a
he
big
yeah.
do-
Mummy
movie
was his
then.
biggest hit. Yeah.
Didn't he do like Journey to the Center of the Earth? They did a Jules Verne thing with Brendan Fraser. That was after The Mummy, wasn't it? We should have a fact checker. on this.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I'm not sure.
If
Oh, he also
if
did that Joe
if Aaron
Pesci
is on there,
movie.
he'd been on here.
He also
Oh.
did that Joe Pesci movie where just Joe Pesci's that homeless guy.
Oh, that one I didn't see. I did see him in a Michael Caine movie, sort of like a spy thing. It was American Diplomat or something like that. I forget what the name of it was. He's a good actor.
Oh yeah, Journey to the Center of the Earth. That was in
Journey to the Center.
2008.
And I guess that wasn't too big a hit, even though it was in 3D.
Right.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Bedazzled. He did a remake of Bedazzled.
Right.
Bedazzled was what type of?
Dudley Moore. It was a remake of the Dudley Moore
Oh,
movie.
the Dudley
that was in
Moore,
the
yeah.
70s.
Yeah. The Peter Cook.
Which I really do like that one, the Dudley Moore one. Dudley Moore is pretty funny.
He's a funny guy, yeah. Peter Cook, his partner, never seemed to catch on in America. Matter of fact, they did a movie version of the Hound of the Baskervilles, which is frequently cited as one of the worst movies ever made. I don't know how that happened. But in a way, when who are the two guys? They did a Sherlock Holmes thing, a spoof, and it was a big bomb. Will Ferrell?
Will
Something?
Ferrell
yeah,
and
Will
John C.
Ferrell.
Reilly.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God, this is just like Dudley Moore's experience." They thought that it would be funny to do a parody of Sherlock Holmes without realizing that Sherlock Holmes is already practically in the category of parody to begin with, right?
Yeah.
It's just a question of making it more ridiculous. But
Right.
Will Ferrell, he just, when he first came out into the movies, I mean, he was funny on SNL, but when he started doing movies, his first movie was like, okay, he's pretty funny, but then he started playing the same character, and it's like, all right, dude, we
Right.
get it. You're the dumb guy.
Well, I mean, a lot of screen comedians, that's pretty much all they do. Charlie Chaplin
Yeah.
played a tramp practically all his career, with the exception of a few films.
But he probably still made it fresh or made it interesting.
Yeah.
It's just Will Ferrell's like, all right, yeah, you're dumb. You don't get stuff. You're different.
Did you guys know Jerry Lewis?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
A surprising number of people, when I ask that question nowadays, tell me they don't know who Jerry Lewis is, which astonishes me, because Jerry Lewis at one time was like, he owned the planet, it seemed.
Yeah.
He was everywhere and doing everything.
See, I just assumed everybody around my age, maybe even Billy's age, would at least know him from the Jerry Lewis telethons that were on.
That's right. Yes. Right.
That were on for one whole
Right.
24-hour period on Labor Day or something.
Right. Yeah. And
I think he's passed, right? He's
he
passed away, right?
Yeah.
I think what wasn't one of his last movies, like The Night of the Museum? It was one of them. I'm pretty
he
sure.
might have done like a cameo in something like that, but
Yeah.
It was like him and two other old guys. Or maybe it was Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney, yeah.
It was
Well,
one of them. I don't know. It was,
Well, Jerry, what is your feeling about Jerry Lewis? Do you think he was funny? Have you ever seen any of his great movies, like The Nutty Professor?
I saw The Night Professor. It's been 20 years since I saw. And I remember, I don't think I hated it.
Oh, I always thought that film was funny, and he could be funny, but he was such an obnoxious person that his
Yeah, I heard he was
personality.
an asshole. Yeah.
Really. I mean, he was actually, before his death, he was voicing his support for Trump. So that gives you an idea of where we stand with these guys. There seemed to be a thing back then with that crowd, because he started like in the 40s, I guess, or in the 50s, with Dean Martin was his partner, and they were on the level of like the Beatles. They were just enormously popular. They did a whole series of big budget studio films. They weren't big budget, but they were big studio film production comedies. And then he went off and did his own. For years and years, he was making comedies that were reasonably successful. Nutty Professor was a big hit, but all these guys, him and Milton Berle and some of the other big comedians from that era, they all talk and act like gangsters. And it's like, you see them in interviews and they're smoking a cigar. Yeah, I remember working with, and meanwhile, you see them in the movies.
Yeah.
How is that?
I thought they were overrated in a way, especially Dean Martin. I don't know. I just never was a Dean Martin fan or like a Frank Sinatra.
You don't like Frank Sinatra either?
I never really cared much for his stuff, really.
I like his music.
I like his singing, but I don't like him as a person. He's another kind of obnoxious guy. But
they thought like their shit didn't stink. You know what I mean?
Well, he had Frank Sinatra had a whole band of enforcers to.
He had ties to the mob or something, didn't he, or something like that?
He apparently did have some connections with the mob.
Contract. He was. I'm gonna see if I can get this pronunciation right. Contractually obligated to play in Die Hard.
Who was?
Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra.
Oh, he was originally going to do it.
Yeah, because he had played the same character in a previous movie. I can't remember what it was called. And then I guess because he'd done that, they had to go to him first when they made Die Hard and offer him the role.
Well, and he was probably in his 60s or 70s.
Yeah. He turned it down. But I was just thinking that'd been an interesting film if he would have been in Die Hard.
he did a bunch of detective movies. I guess First Deadly Sin was the one that he played that character.
Yeah, I can't remember what the movie was called. It was the same character. It was the John McClane character.
Yeah, he did some good movies. I mean, he did. What's the famous one? The Manchurian Candidate, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm sure if I thought hard enough, I can think of other movies that he was in that he was actually pretty decent in. But I always feel guilty when I find myself listening to his music because I don't like him as a person. I know what he represents, and it's kind of a,
have a buzzkill.
Yeah, it is kind of. I mean, we that's such a big thing now that we find people that we like have done things in the past that we're told that we should. Not watch their stuff anymore or not listen to their music. I see Bob Dylan has been accused of sexual molestation.
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
I don't know how true this is.
Let's blast it out there.
Allegedly, yeah.
On the court document, it said that she accused him in April of May in the Chelsea Hotel in 1965, and apparently he was out of country doing one of his famous documentaries.
Oh, he wasn't molesting somebody else.
No,
as
far as I know.
That's the explanation or the excuse that I'm looking for. Your Honor, I couldn't possibly have molested this child.
Yeah.
I was molesting that one.
Yeah, I was over there.
All right. So, William, is there anything you're looking forward to watching coming out soon, or
you're trying to get the conversation off child molestation?
Yeah. I'm trying to work towards an end here.
Everything always goes towards child molestation.
Yeah.
It always leads back to that, no matter what you say.
Seems that way. What am I looking forward to seeing? I suppose I'll just continue to watch Red Letter Media stuff.
There you go.
See, I don't have to actually watch the movies or the TV shows. I just watch those guys.
Watch it vicariously.
But you should watch the Lamb trailer.
The Lamb?
Check that out. Yeah. A24.
Well, I've been looking backwards mostly. Usually especially if I'm doing like one of your shows, I will watch a whole bunch of movies that I think are related to it. Like with Jessica, I look back to Carnival of Souls, which I was mistakenly, I was working under the belief that was an inspiration for Jessica. It turns out it wasn't. And I also watched Gaslight, which we discussed. So those are two films that I would recommend. I don't know if you guys are interested in that type of thing, but Gaslight is a pretty entertaining, old-fashioned thriller, and it also explains. I mean, that's where that word gaslighting comes
That's like,
from.
yeah.
So it gives you a perfect illustration of how to gaslight your spouse if you would like to convince your spouse
know
that
what?
they're crazy.
I bet I could be a pro at that. No.
You might be doing it and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be doing it right now. I don't even know.
Yeah,
Well, you
so
like,
now-
you got anything coming up, Billy, you want to see?
I'm excited for, I'm hoping the trailer for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, hopefully it comes out soon and hopefully might be good. Evil Dead Rise, I'm a sucker for Evil Dead, so I'm definitely gonna see that whenever that comes out.
That's another sequel. Or?
Yeah, it's a sequel being made by the original.
Yeah, but it's nobody.
people,
Yeah, it's like nobody from like the remake is going to be in it, and it's the guy who did The Hole in the Ground, which is Carrie's favorite movie. He's
No.
going to be doing it.
Are you excited for Glenn Danzig's new movie?
Oh God, I'm ready to
You took the
laugh.
words right out of my mouth. I was
Yeah.
just going to ask that question.
Have you seen the trailer for it?
It
They
looks,
have
got
be-
they got a
not.
trailer for it.
it looks better than the previous one.
It does. It does look a little bit
Yeah.
better.
And don't forget Edgar Wright's new movie, Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, you showed me that trailer. That looked pretty good.
A comedy?
Yeah.
No, it's not a comedy.
Straight
it's
up horror.
Yeah,
Oh, it's a horror.
movie.
Okay, well,
Yeah, it has straight up horror. It has the girl from The Witch. She's in it, and the girl that was in Jojo Rabbit.
okay.
She's in it.
Yeah, I think it has
Like
something
a
to do with,
period, please.
it either has something to do with parallel universes or time travel or something. I don't know.
Or
Oh.
like some kind of like shadow monsters or something.
So
Yeah,
it's-
it's
Maybe
Yeah.
they're the Langoliers from.
yeah, it
Oh,
has
God.
like there's a couple of scenes that has like I know I'm gonna say this name wrong, but what do you call those Italian slashers? The Gallo or
Gallo, yeah.
yeah, it has that feel, that look, the bright colors.
Well, I think you might have just put
Yeah.
your finger on it. And knowing Edgar Wright, that's what he's going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't done a straight drama or, everything he's done up to this point has been a parody.
It's been
or-
comedy. Yeah.
Comedy, yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see.
And then Guillermo del Toro's remake of Nightmare Alley,
Oh,
which is going to be his first like just like straight laced like thriller, and it's going to have like Bradley Cooper and I can't remember some other people. It's going to be rated R. So anything he does, I will probably watch because I think he's a fantastic director.
yeah. His last one didn't do too well, though. What, that gothic melodrama?
Crimson
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Crimson Peak. I don't know why people didn't like it. I thought it was really good.
It didn't do very well at the box office. So.
No, but was it The Shape of Water? No, that was really
Oh, yeah.
good.
Well, that was a big hit and an Oscar winner. So I guess he can coast.
Maybe they'll get
through.
him closer to At the Mountains of Madness. Maybe they'll get him closer to his dream project.
Is that his dream
see.
project still? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that and there was if you go on YouTube, it will say like the unproduced like scripts or something of Guillermo del Toro, and he did his own version of kind of like The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh.
I can't remember what it's called, The Heart of Darkness or something like that. And he said it is like the best thing he's ever written. I
And it
can't
never
remember
was
why it
produced.
didn't get made. He's still hoping to get that made, but it's like really violent. It's like he said it's like his most violent movie.
Wow.
So I don't know. But you
Sometimes
should check it out. It's on YouTube.
sometimes these guys get a chance to do these dream projects and it doesn't go so well.
Yeah.
Might be best.
See, he had
to-
wrote it in the 90s too. See,
Mhm.
so it's been like it's right after his father got kidnapped by the cartels
Oh boy.
and they had to pay to get his father back. And he had a bunch of rage, and that's when he did that movie. That's when he wrote the script, I should say.
He comes from a well-off family, I assume.
I'm not sure if they're well off or not, but I know it. I think he had already been a kind of established director, so I'm guessing they thought he had money, maybe, and they kidnapped his father. But his father came back. His father was, brought back safely.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just look up like Guillermo del Toro's his best scripts that were never made or something like that. And you should. There's a good like a 30-minute thing about it.
Well, who's the guy, Jodorowsky, who had the unmade version of Dune. They did a documentary about that. That was very interesting, actually. And I think they put out like a coffee table book of all the designs and
Yeah.
everything from it. But I have a feeling that probably sometimes those projects are best left undone because we can appreciate the potential of all the work that was done in developing the ideas, and you can read the script. But probably if it ended up going to actually in front of the cameras, I mean, Jodorowsky's film might have ended up worse than David Lynch's version. of
Right.
Dune.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He actually made, since he didn't get to make Dune, he actually put a lot of his ideas in a comic book series called The
Yes.
Incel.
Right,
That's
yeah.
apparently like really good, I think.
And a lot of people who worked on his version of Dune ended up going off and working on Ridley Scott's Alien. So the world benefited from him collecting those people together and allowing
Yeah, but
the studios to see that there was potential in using these people, because like comic artists like who's Mobius and people like that, they weren't really doing that much in Hollywood, if anything at all. I don't think they had done anything up to that point. So
plus David Lynch kind of like spat in the face of like the Book of Dune. He's like, I'm not gonna, I don't need this. I'm gonna put my own version. I haven't read the book, or I'm not gonna put anything in the book and the version I want. It's like, then why'd you fucking agree to make the movie, dude?
well, he still seems very, I mean, to the extent that you get any strong emotions from him at all, he still seems to be very upset of what happened with that. And I have a feeling he wanted
I think
to do
he's
something
kind of
good.
overrated in a way. Yeah, I've only enjoyed a couple of his movies. A lot of them I liked until like a certain scene, and I'm like, that was just unnecessary. I was like, why you gotta be this pretentious, dude? It's like, and this throws me out. Like my friend, he's like, I don't know if you would like was it Crimson or Twins Peak? He's like, when it's good, it's good. He's like, but when it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah. Well, Twin Peaks also was a TV series, so you would expect a certain variation in the quality of it. He didn't really direct everything. I think he's directed the new version, the new series, but Eraserhead and the Elephant Man and Blue Velvet and
I do love Blue Velvet, Mulholland Drive.
Holland Drive. Those are kind of hard to knock. I mean, what I like about him is he has this unique vision, and since he isn't trying to make commercial product, you never know where it's going to take you. And sometimes
Elephant Man was probably his most commercial film.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful film. It's a beautiful film. It's nice every once in a while. Like he did this, was it The Straight Story? Was that another one that he did? That was just a pretty straightforward.
The guy's like on a lawnmower or something.
Yes. That when he does pretty, fairly straightforward stuff, he can turn out some very touching and impressive films. But Eraserhead too, I watched that fairly recently, and that's an extraordinary thing. I don't think there's anything else like that.
And I have not made it all the way through. I always fall asleep within, I swear, like 40 minutes in or 30 minutes in. I'm like, I'll wake up and it's like the end. I'm like, God damn it, not again.
Well, it has a very soothing sort of meditative quality to it. It's almost like ASMR,
Yeah.
So they go, I guess, until the baby starts crying, and then that usually wakes you up. But yeah, I think pretty highly of him. He seems like a unique creature in the world. It's too bad that he doesn't get to make more movies, but maybe it's just as well. Maybe if he was turning stuff out all the time, there'd be a lot less.
I think he's kind of retired from making movies, really.
He's teaching meditation, and
he might still do shows, but I'm pretty sure he's said he's done making movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing he did a voice on the Cleveland show.
Oh yeah.
I think he did the bartender's voice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Is that
and he was also in a couple episodes of Louis C.K.
Oh. The Cleveland show is a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's
spin-off of
canceled
Family
now.
Guy.
Yeah, it's canceled. Yeah, it wasn't that good.
That's not by that annoying Family Guy guy.
Yeah, it's a spin-off. It's a spin-off. The character came from that show. Yeah.
I don't know why I hate him so much.
Seth MacFarlane.
Just don't. He seems like an intelligent guy, but.
See, I heard his show, The Orville, is pretty good, but I've never seen it.
Well, it's probably better than some of the Star Trek shows that are being done now.
You probably, yeah.
But well, God bless him.
He actually like stars in it and writes it and everything.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you
It
right
was
now,
good.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing. There's a movie called Seance. I saw a trailer for it. It looks
Oh
really good.
yeah, the guy that
And
did
then-
You're Next.
Yeah, there's a movie coming on Hulu called Only Murderers in Our Building, starring Martin Short and Steve Martin. That looks
Oh,
really
that's
good.
gonna be good.
Yeah, that looks really good. So that's what I'm looking forward
They're
to.
always a good duo. They're always a good duo. I love Martin Short.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's funny.
But it looks like it's gonna be pretty good. So that's what I'm looking forward to. William, where can everybody find your stuff at?
Well, after all the things I've said on this show, maybe I shouldn't say.
Yeah, yeah.
I want people to be able to find me. I'm on Facebook. You know, my name is visible, and people can follow me there. On Twitter, Demon Resurrection and Sleepless Nights are both on Twitter and Facebook. And you know, we're on. I have a YouTube channel that presumably this will end up on.
All right.
So people can follow me in a whole bunch of places if they are insane enough to do so.
There, and Billy.
They can find me on Twitter. I think it's I think I'm Billdozer 8894.
Okay.
You can find me on the Slasher app. I think I go by Doom, and that's it.
All right. Well, all right. Good stuff there. We'll let you get off here, and I guess I'll go ahead and jump off here too. So,
William, it was a pleasure. As always, a pleasure.
Yes,
Hearing you
pleasure.
talk.
Yes, I enjoyed it very much.
yep. We'll have to come back and do it again.
Okay,
Yes.
take care, guys.
All right, you have a good one.